This is Jordan Fisher here with Pat Rosenthal, one of my good buddies. And I told him this before we started this, but I apologize because I didn't queue up any questions. So we scrambled and we figured out like 3 questions to go off of.
That's correct. This is going to be a little bit of an improv session, but I think it should go well.
Yeah, definitely. Talking about PatCnx, his Platonic dating app.
That's correct. That's PatCnx, pronounced PatCnx.
So we'll just get started with how did you get started with this application?
Good question, Jordan. So basically, I'd say this probably happened maybe 8 months or so ago. And I think I actually had this conversation with you and a couple of other friends. People graduating college and not being able to find people easily, right? When you're in a college environment, you're around a lot of people, even in high school or whatnot. It's fairly easy to meet people, and maybe you can set up dates and do stuff like that. But once you graduate college, you're working 40 hours a week, and your time isn't easy to come by. It becomes harder to meet people, and that kind of drifts you into doing things such as Tinder, Bumble, Match, whatever you may use these days. And after seeing my friends and myself trying to use these apps, the success rate doesn't seem great.
It's become the norm of millennials.
Yes.
It's really bizarre. Like I feel like most people are dating with dating apps.
Yes. Yeah, right. And one thing I want to see with my app is to kind of bring back that more real life type of ordeal, right? Like you go on these current apps these days, and you're seeing more strangers, people you don't know, which isn't traditionally how dating works, I feel like.
I wouldn't say it's more strangers, it's always strangers. Like it's bizarre to see somebody you're like, oh, I think I might know them, or oh, I know who that is, or obviously like, oh, I know her, like I've met her before.
Yes, 100%. And I think that's where you end up most of the time. Like Tinder, maybe 80% of the time you see people you've never met in your life, or maybe you've seen before once, and then you'll occasionally see someone you know on there. But ideally, what I want to try to get going is more of this friend of a friend idea, right? So you're stopping this meeting strangers, and you go to what would traditionally happen if you went to a bar, you hung out with your buddies, or you go to a bonfire and your friend introduces you to someone he or she knows, and then you guys kind of start this platonic relationship and go from there. So ideally, the idea behind this app is that it's driven. I'm piloting this with Facebook, right? So Facebook won't be the only thing I try to.
Well, explain that piloting, because I'm pretty sure I understand it, but for anybody listening, like what do you mean by piloting with Facebook?
Right.
You're basically using their data so that you have any mutual friends, any just mutual connections that you could like link to that person.
That's correct. Yes. So very similar to the suggested friends on Facebook. The idea is that, and when I say piloting, I mean this is the first integration, or like the first thing I want to put into the app. So think of Facebook as like a plugin, right? The app is not Facebook alone. This could be Twitter, Snapchat, whatever gets integrated into the app at some point. But Facebook's my first attempt at doing this, and that's what I mean by piloting. But yeah, so basically, like you were saying, it's that mutual connection. So you get on there, and my app essentially goes in and it picks up all your Facebook friends, right? So if you go in, it's very simple. I have a little guide, a little blog I wrote on it. You go in, you create an account on PatCnx, and then you register. And as soon as you log into PatCnx, the first thing that hits you is log into Facebook. So you link your Facebook account, takes like 3 seconds. And then immediately it starts pulling in all your available Facebook connections that are already on the app. I can't pull in people who haven't actually joined the application, obviously, but anyone who has joined the application and is your mutual Facebook friend will get shown to you. And it's not just your first tier friends, right? Like if I have a friend that's I'm actually friends with on Facebook, will show me them, but it will do multiple hops and find people that you're friends with. So ideally, there's probably that person you've heard of or talked about that you might be interested in, but you've never really got to meet them because your friend never introduced you to them because you just were never in that situation. But now I've opened the door for you, so you just get on the app and it does it for you. It opens that door.
That's fantastic. Yeah, whenever you're meeting somebody on there, or okay, I'll bring a personal example. So I have met somebody recently on a dating app that they knew me through one of their friends.
Yes.
And it became that much easier because there was that mutual connection. It was like, yeah, I've noticed a lot of girls on there specifically are more like tentative and withdrawn to guys they don't know because there's so much like, I guess just ambiguity of like, and mysteriousness of like, who is this person? Who's this dude? And they might get the vibe that he's creepy or weird or they don't know. So they kind of have their guard up in the beginning. But I feel like everybody, both genders, regardless, are a lot more comfortable whenever they have that mutual connection.
Yes, and I think this will be a paradigm shift. I named that the title of my blog. But yeah, so I think there's two ways to look at this, right? I think at first, actually, this is going to be a challenging situation for the app, right? Because people are not used to that close connection on a dating app. It's actually intimidating, right? You get on there and you see 5 people, 5 girls or 5 guys, whatever you are, and they're people you already know. It's kind of intimidating to go on there and hit the like button because there's kind of that social piece of it that now your friends kind of know about this and whatever. But I think the benefit about this, and once people get used to this idea of that, is that it'll get the whole society involved, right? So I've created this feature on the app where you can designate yourself as single or non-single, and what that does is that non-single piece it brings in the whole family essentially, right? So your parents can join the app, and your grandparents can join the app, and your neighbors can join the app, your coworkers can join the app. These people can all be married people or just people not interested in dating at the moment. But if they join the app, as soon as they join the app, their Facebook connections are now being exposed to give you an opportunity as their single friend to meet all those people that they know, even though they're not available on the market. They're exponentially increasing the amount of opportunities that you have to do so. And I think because of that, not just because they're increasing the odds, but also because they're getting involved in the process of joining the app, there's a good chance that they might encourage people that they know that are single to join the app, and maybe they'll refer them to you as a single person. And
so it could be even, 2 married people that are like, hey, I'm trying to add a third. No, I'm just kidding. No, but it could be 2 married people. It's like, hey, we want to find another married couple that likes kayaking. Mm-hmm. I want to go kayaking on the weekend, and we want to make it a double date. Like this sounds fun to make a regular thing in our lifestyle, and that's what we want to do. So they could look for something specific like that.
Yeah, I think that's an opportunity for it. I think the cool thing is about this app is because no other app does this. I think it gives you that opportunity to explore situations you've never seen before, right? Like, for example, I think, and I call this the Platonic dating app, right? And I think Platonic, it infers more friendship and not so much sexual, but I think the idea behind it is that it starts you out Platonic, right? Which is cool because I think you can get on this app without that, that wall of having to turn it into a date. Like, you get on there, and because you have this mutual connection...
Yeah, there's some pressure there.
Yeah, exactly. You meet someone you've never met before, it's awkward, and it's like you just have nothing to talk about because you don't know each other, and it's like you are on a date the first time you talk to them. It is what it is because of the nature of how things go. But,
and you don't know their intentions. And
yes.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yes, 100%. But on PatCnx, you can take a different approach, I think. You can get on there, and if you see... say in our cases we're both males, but say we saw 4 females on there that we know somewhat well, I can get on there and I can start texting that girl, and I don't have to be like turning it into a dating situation immediately. I could literally be texting her for a month, just to become friends with her, see how she is as a human being. Unlike you do on these other dating apps, it's just a real quick 1-sentence ordeal a lot of times, and you meet up with them. But I think it gives that opportunity. And like you were saying with the couple situation, I think you can try to get double dates and stuff going, and because the married people are mutual friends with these people that you're going to meet, it makes that like 1,000 times easier to get started. So
I don't know if we want to release this. Tinder's gonna be like, adding all these features.
Yeah, I know. I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I definitely got to do some marketing, but I think Tinder, and I don't want to bash on Tinder and Bumble and those apps, because truly they're not bad apps. I think there's a time and a place for both. I think obviously with their market share, they've done well. I think Tinder's done well, Bumble's done well, Match has done well. All of those apps have done really well because they have a market for it. Some people love the anonymous thing. I think some people will never use my dating app because they don't want to venture out to that.
But what you're saying is what you're getting at is you're filling a different need. So what's that different need? Like how are you different?
Yes, exactly. And those are, you're meeting strangers. That's what you're getting on Tinder. And that's always going to be the case, right? I don't think they'd switch over to this friendship model because it doesn't meet the need that they're trying to fulfill. But in my case, I'm trying to steer you completely away from that type of thing, which is okay. You can use, if you're looking to, you just got out of a bad relationship or something, right? And you're just looking to, meet new people and do a bunch of casual stuff or whatever you want to do. Hop on Tinder, good for you. But if you're looking maybe for something more long-term or whatever it may be, hop on my app and give it a go. I think one thing too, age range wise, I think on these anonymous type apps like Tinder and stuff like that where you're meeting with strangers, I think it induces unfortunate situations like scamming. People who are maybe not as technically savvy are getting taken by people who are trying to get them to pay them money when they've never met them once in their life, right? They'll send them messages and they'll sweet talk them, and then they'll send them X amount of money for just talking to them on an app, trying to make them feel like they're in love with them, but they're not.
Yeah, I've heard some weird scams like that as well.
Yeah, I think one benefit about mine, even though it is serving sort of a different purpose, is that I think the scamming will be harder to do. 2 reasons. One, I think because of the social dynamic of it, if someone scams you, your whole social crowd could find out about that pretty easily, right? Because you know that whoever you're meeting with is a mutual friend, and therefore it's not hard to pass the word around about something like that. So that's one potential issue. There's one other thing I was going to mention, but I totally blanked on it. But anyway.
The whole time you've been talking about this, I've been wondering, is this going to be free, or is it going to be paid, or?
Yeah, I haven't gotten that far, but so I really do want this app to help people, right? I mean, I need to make money off of it in some way because the way the app works for anyone who's non-technical on here is there's servers and stuff that run in the background that do all the magic, right? You get on there and you log in and it shows you a bunch of people and you hit the like button and all this stuff. It looks real pretty, but there's a lot of stuff going on in the background from an IT standpoint that is not super cheap to run. So ideally what I'd like to do is see how it goes first. I at least want to get a stable enough user base on the app that it will, I'll see how people are actually using the app, because I don't know how people are going to use the app, right? Maybe maybe it turns out to not even be a dating app. Maybe people just start using it to meet friends, right? Because it is friend-based. But so that's my first thing. I want to get a stable enough user base to see how people are using the app, and then once I've gotten that far, I can start deciding on what type of model I'd like to use for monetization. I think there's a couple approaches to that. You could do either one. You can do like a freemium model where you start people off with like a trial type of thing, right? So not even a trial, but like just limited access. So, for example, say maybe I give you guys 50 friends that you can see or something like that at all times. You can always go on there, always sign up for free, and you can see 50 friends. But then if you want to get, above and beyond and go explore the whole world of opportunities that you have ahead of you, maybe you'll pay X amount of money to go do so. Or I think you could go the other direction and make it just paid. So I charge you a very low amount of money, but you pay as soon as you get on the app. That I think won't work as well until a lot of people are using the app, because they already don't know what it is. Why would they pay for it?
Right.
And then the last one is ads. I do have another app, Soda Pop Toss, if anyone wants to give that a whirl. I have tested ads on that application, and ads are good, but they're not as stable. Is the only issue with that. So yes, you get to use the app for free as an end user, which I personally do like that, because I think that gets more people involved. But the downside to ad-driven revenue is you're in this situation where you may or may not actually get paid, right? Say I have 1,000 users, and I know 1,000 users cost me X amount of money per person. Well, if for some reason in 2 months no ads come through, no one's paying me to put their ad on my app, then I'm basically fronting the bill for everyone using my app, and then I end up in a bad situation. So you never know. I don't know. It's a hard thing to tell right now.
Yeah, you got time to work out the business model, the business side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the big question now is, do people want to use it? And again, you never know how somebody is going to use an app. Yes.
Yeah, and right now it's I want to say low budget. It's something I just released out there for anyone who wants to go sign up. It's working. It does what it's supposed to do. There's some IT overhaul stuff I'm doing right now. I'm hammering out some code every night that it'll make it a little more scalable. So right now, I think if a lot of people got on the app, we could start experiencing some performance issues. But I'm redesigning it a little bit. So if we have that scenario where a lot of people get on and they start signing up, which would be awesome, it'll be ready for it. So
not to get too much into like the technicalities of it, but how would I word this? Does it matter if a lot of people are online at the exact same time?
Yes.
That's when it matters.
There's a lot of stuff involved. So this particular application is almost like a social networking application in a way, right? So it's driven by Facebook connections, or maybe down the line a little bit driven by Twitter or whatever it is. That specific type of thing doesn't play well with traditional applications. Twitter, Facebook, all the big social networking applications, they've redesigned how they build their applications to handle this type of thing. And so I'm essentially doing the same thing. I'm redesigning the way I've already built my app, which I just released, to be able to use that pattern that they're using, which will help with that type of thing. So what would happen in the past if you were to build an app like this? Let's say 1,000 people join the app, and it might take you 30 seconds to load your friends, or something like that, okay, with 1,000 people. Once 10,000 people join, or 100,000 people join, the old way this used to work is you'd run into this scenario where you would have like your computer, your server that's running this whole thing just spinning. It would run for hours. It's exponential how much load it puts on the computer that's doing the algorithm for all this stuff. And you run into a really bad scenario. So yes, I'm redesigning it so it should be able to handle that concurrent load where a lot of people are hammering the like button all at the same time, or they're all signing up or just searching the app. So
that's awesome.
Yes.
I can't really think of any other questions at the moment.
Yeah, no, I think this is good. I think we covered the bases here. I think it was a good interview. So, I don't know if you have any further input, Jordan.
Yeah. I'm kind of searching my mind for questions. I got nothing.
Classic.
I like it though. I like where the inspiration came from. Just the whole idea behind the app.
Yes, me too.
It's definitely different too.
Yeah, it is. It's like I said, I don't think there's another app right now that does this, and very curious to see for anyone who does want to sign up, how this goes for you. So if anyone does sign up from listening to this podcast, first off, to sign up, go to https://PatCnx, that's PatCnx.com. You can register. I also have a blog, PatCnx.medium.com. And for all of you who do register and you have any issues or anything like that, I have an email, support@PatCnx.com. You can reach out to me and give me all your feedback and all your issues and go from there.
I totally had a thought. I totally had a question, but I lost it.
Dude, this happens to me too. I lost something earlier in the podcast. I was thinking of something, but I just couldn't get it off my mind.
That's the difficult thing about any conversation and podcast specifically is like you're trying to listen and engage, but at the same time, sometimes you'll I don't know. I feel like I'd listen 95% of the time, but at the same time, sometimes I'll think I'll be listening to respond instead.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, I struggle with, I'm trying to listen and interpret everything, but at the same time, there are times where I listen to respond.
For all those on who are listening to this call, this is Jordan Fisher interviewing me. He runs a podcast and has had a substantial amount of interesting people he's had on his podcast, so everyone, please check that out while you're surfing PatCnx. If you can pull up a YouTube channel on the side and watch all of Jordan's memorable moments, that'd be great.
Yeah, well said.
Cool. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I appreciate everyone who listened.